everyone, and welcome back to Car Salvage 101. Today, we are experiencing a very, very cold snap here in the UK. And so I'm doing the Speedo change on the Sport. I've got a little heater running in here just to keep me warm because it's minus something, which, don't get me wrong, I know that, Canada, Sweden, the sort of Scandinavian countries experience a lot worse. But I just want to work in a warm environment. So I've got a little heater on in here, and we're going to be changing up the Speedo. Now, one thing I have invested since Christmas is the little sort of microphone here, which allows me to basically get on with what I'm doing with a good, crisp, clear voice. Not only for this, but to be able to, talk about what I'm doing around the car whilst not using my hands or needing to be close to my phone in order for the audio to pick up. So I'm hoping that that's going to be a bit of a game changer. It also just allows me to have a good old chat and about what's going on. And so, so without further ado, slightly coming down with a cold, I think, slightly, so I don't sound particularly good. This is the new one, and it's been sent, and unfortunately, someone's removed the buttons from here, which is a bit annoying. So I need to take these out and see if I can nick the buttons from here. I'm assuming that someone's done a swap. So I've already removed the cowling from underneath here, and the next thing I'm going to do is remove the cowling on the top. So whilst I do this, I thought, this is the most awkward part. They never make it easy. The reason that I'm kind of doing this, probably, I sort of had my mindset that I'd get this done when I was off work, and allows me just to, just get everything sort of moving. But I'm having a slight issue with the Giulietta at the moment, which is my go to work car. And late last year, I can't find these flipping screws. Late last year with the Giulietta, started the brake caliper started sticking. Now, you could still drive it. It just meant that the engine was having to work a bit harder, and there'd be sort of increased temperature from the one side. I can't remember which side it was now, drivers or passengers. But anyway, took it off, disassembled both sides, put on new brakes, and managed to sort of get the I don't know what you want to call it, the caliper and everything sort of back into place. And it worked, and it ran absolutely smoothly until literally a couple of days ago, when I was driving to work and driving down the motorway, and then the rumble started happening and the wheel started shaking. And I was like, something's going on here. And I thought, as the brake caliper locked on again, and got just before work, and basically if you took your foot off the accelerator and knocked it out of gear and just tried to sort of move up, sort of freewheel, the car would come to a stop a lot quicker. So I knew there was a brake caliper problem. But left it at work, got back in it to drive home, and it had obviously freed itself again. So that was fine. Got home absolutely fine. Did the same again yesterday to work, and pretty much the same place again. So we're talking like 25 minutes into the journey, sorry about this, I'm really struggling with the screws. The same thing happened again. And it was really bad to the point of I had to reduce my speed, got into work. Again, the brake caliper sorted itself out whilst I was at work and got home absolutely fine. But, there we go. But the problem is I can't keep doing that. So I need to get a new brake caliper and don't really, if I'm being honest, want to drive it because I just don't know when it's next going to cause me an issue. So I thought I'm going to swap out the Speedo on this, swap out the Speedo, and I can use this to get to and from work. Now, with this, or the main problem that I was a bit like, well, what should I do, is that I don't know how much fuel this has got, and therefore I wanted to just to swap this out just so I could see what fuel I've got, and then I can take it to work. So that is my plan today, and I've got a few hours before I need to get to work. So, having removed the top and bottom cowling, we now need to remove, if I can get the right one, no. We now need to remove the this bit here, which is a completely different. That's it. It's not a Phillips head; it's completely different. So put that in there. So yeah, so the Alpha is having a little funny 5 minutes, and I'm trying to get another caliper on eBay. eBay's a very funny marketplace at times. You can find a caliper, like I just want a second-hand caliper, and you go on there, and someone, say for example, selling it for £25. You go on there and it says best offer. So I'm a bit cheeky. I'll go in at 20 and then it gets rejected. So you're like, okay, fair enough. And you then put in another bid, like a couple of pound more, and now it gets rejected. And you think, well, like, what's the point? Like, it's £25. You're now rejecting it at 22. What do you actually want? Because you probably end up getting it for 24, and you think, well, why didn't you just list it at 24? So some people can be a bit stingy around the offer me a price kind of thing. So just waiting to hear back and see if I can nab one. They're actually quite cheap, and I don't need to invest in a new one. Right. So this is unclipped from the side. There we go. So that's that. Right. This is just filthy, this car. Absolutely filthy. So now we've got to swap out for another one. So which one is it? Not that one. Is it this one? That's the one. Yeah, so anyway, the Alpha, I think we're sort of into the last month or so, I think, really, of driving that one. Now I've got the house sorted and no sort of financial, what's going on there. For me, it's a case of looking to finally get a a newer car, and not 100% sure what I want to do at the moment, if I'm being honest. In short, the rental market. I used to do leasing for a number of years. Used to pick up some fantastic bargains. As an example, I think when I first started leasing, I had a BMW 330D on a 16 plate, 17 plate, and on a 330D, that cost me £230 a month, something like that. Then a couple of years later, got an Audi A5 S-Line on a 2018 plate. That was about 250 a month, something like that. And then in 2020 got the 8 Series, which was £399 a month. Now, you can't get lease cars for anything like that anymore. The deposit's either really high or the monthly cost is just ridiculous. And you just, like, 250 quid gets you a Corsa these days. Right. That's all pulled out. So that is good. That is absolutely filthy. So yeah, it's so leasing's not the way to go anymore. There's been a few random PCP deals recently on electric cars because I think they're struggling to move them, and the residual values on them are incredible. You're buying like 70 grand's worth of car, and 2 years later it's worth 3/4 less. It's like 25 grand, something like that. So yeah, and where I've just bought, they've left their electric charger. So there is a temptation for me to buy an electric car, especially at the rate. You're getting a lot of car for not much money. And I don't have to worry about going up to, say, Manchester or anything like that, because so I don't have to worry about the mileage as long as it sort of, gets me to and from work. And if you get these, I think there's some sort of octopus energy tariff, which basically can allow you to charge your car fully overnight for like £3 or something. So, so at the moment, I'm sort of looking into whether or not that's the type of thing that I want to get an electric car. But we shall see. In the meantime, I'm just trying to pop off these buttons from this one, which is not as easy, but then there we go. There's a second. I don't want to break it. I think that's the third. Right, there we go. Right, so that is out, and that's, as we know, is broken. I'll still sell that, I think. There's still people who, for example, want to buy that, can replace the center LCD. So let's place this on here. That's the first one. That is the second. Third, right. Okay, that's in. That's in. Let's hope this works, because I've had Speedos like this before, plugged them in, and they don't work, as in they've also got similar problems with the center display. So what we also need to check, so now that is in, we need to check how much fuel this has got. Now, bear with me. We've got my car keys in here. That's not the car keys. Right, here we go. Okay, right, let's turn it on. We have half a tank. We've got half a tank at the moment, so that is good. And it all seems to be working just fine. Right, good. I'm now going to put it back. What you're meant to do, and I'm sure a number of videos have shown, and Paul from Love 500's done plenty of them as well, is that you need to do a proxy alignment as well to get so that the Speedo matches up with your model of 500, and also just allows it to recommunicate with everything. So for example, this car might not have, say, an outside temperature display. So by proxy aligning it, you're telling this Speedo, where it currently does, that it doesn't, so it removes that option, etc. Or those types of things. And it also stops that flashing mileage, which could come and haunt you at some point. Right. Let's put that on. Put that in there. So anyway, back to replacing the Alpha. Yeah, at the moment it's I'm sort of looking at either a BMW, petrol or diesel, not really sure. Which I'm probably likely to be some sort of SUV, I think. I quite like the M340, but I think that's going to be out my price bracket. So it might be like an X3 or something like that. And then that's not going in there. Why is that not going? Is that the wrong size? Yes, that's the wrong size. That's why. What did I do with? So on. So maybe an X3. And then the other option, or an X4 maybe, and then the other option is going electric and seeing some very good deals to be had on an Audi e-tron, which is like their first generation of electric car. Brand new was about 75 grand, and now you can pick them up for about 25 after a couple of years. So I'm quite tempted by that, because as I say, I've got the infrastructure there to do that. So that's of interest to me. You get a lot of car, but obviously the only thing that I'm sort of a bit put off by is the fact that it is electric, and do I want to move away and go with the future, or do I like my petrol cars? BMW I'd rather have, if I'm being honest, but their electric cars are still quite high on, and they're not dropping as much. So, that's the latest on that one. And then I'll work out what I'm going to do about the Alpha and how I'm going to get rid of that. Let's make sure these buttons get in okay. Right, that is in. That is in. That's on. Good. Right. Got the 3 here. So you can see is actually quite a simple job. Really? Um, so anyway, so what else can we talk about? Um, so my plans, I think, for this year, 2024, is really, in all honesty, probably cut down with just generally how many cars that I've got. I've still got the BMW. I've still got that. I think that will go because I don't need that anymore. That was going to be a daily driver, but yeah, that's if I'm going to get a new car, I won't need that anymore. And then yeah, just not have as many cars. I don't need that anymore. And I've still got work that still gets in the way a lot of time, especially this time of year as well. This time of year it's just not great weather. It really isn't, and it really just puts you off. Luckily, as I say, this is a bit of an indoor kind of thing, and that's fine. But let's just turn this off now. But yeah, I seem to be moving away more from Copart, which is good, but I think it's because Copart prices have just got not. The problem is, and this is why I think it partly is, if I'm being honest, is anyone can set up a Copart account. It's not difficult. You just pay your fee and then you can just go and buy it. With BCA, you need to be able to produce trade insurance so you can get effectively a trader's account. Now that stops a lot of people from buying cars. So I think everyone's going to like Copart to get a cheap car. Now I say cheap. A lot of them now are getting close, if not the same, as buying the car from BCA with it all being done up and without the category. And most people want a car without a category. So, but don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There are bargains to be had at Copart, but and there are bargains to be had at BCA. But it's just a funny old little market at the moment, and I seem to, with BCA also being down the road for me, it means that I can pick them up, save on delivery, and then obviously that helps as well, rather than paying 150, £200 plus to get a car to me. So yeah, not really sure. I still think I'll keep the Copart account, but yeah, I just might end up taking a bit of a back seat, really, I think, for the minute, if I'm being honest with you. Right. Got this last one. Get in there. It's going in there. Right, there we go. That is all good. The buttons are a bit loose, and I just think, no, they're not loose, but I wonder if maybe I should have done that and put that in. Now I've seen it. Do you know what? I'm going to put that back in. Normally, I tend to not really care, but I'm going to do that. Anyway, I'll come back to you when I'm pretty much close to being done, so I don't waffle a lot. Right, everyone. So I've got all the cowling back on. That's all in place. I've given it a good old clean because this car is filthy. And yeah, I didn't really want to bore you too much with getting that on, because that is an absolute bugger, especially if I don't have normally some blue tack or something to put on the end of the Phillips screwdriver, allowing the screw to sort of remain in place because you're sort of going in blind. So anyway, so I've done that, given it a little tiny spruce, and I mean a very tiny spruce around various bits, but this requires a complete overall clean, and I don't have that stuff on me right now. So that basically brings the end to this little video. I hope it's been something a bit different and sort of giving you a bit of an idea about what's kind of going on. Yeah, what I should say is that this Speedo has already been replaced before, because this is the old one and it's from 2015. So this is a 2013 car. So therefore we've had a replacement, or we've found a time traveller. But so we've already had one replaced. So I will now probably put that up for sale. Someone will buy it because they'll want to change the screen in there. And yeah, so that's it. So I think that's going to be the end of the video. Hit the like button, that would be really helpful. The subscribe button as well, that's even more helpful. And yeah, we'll be back to sort of probably just top and tail this one, ready for putting it up for sale. But I think I'll use this now as my daily runner for a bit until I can get this brake caliper sorted. So